Let's move into the NFL. Let's talk the Jags at the Commanders. Can't say this is like my most exciting game of the week that I'm going to watch. But because I slept through my auto draft or slept through my draft, I do have Trevor Lawrence as my backup quarterback here.
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah, so that happened. Tom Brady is my original quarterback, but I also have Trevor Lawrence. Not sure how I'm feeling about it. I've got the Jaguars -3 is what I'm looking at here, and the total on or the Commanders are at the -3. Sorry, and the total on this one is a 44. Not seeing a whole ton of line movement. It was -3.5 Commanders, so it did tick down just a hair. What are you looking at on this one? What's up, everybody? Don't forget about our new sponsor, Caesars Sportsbook. They're giving you up to $1,250 in a risk-free first bet and 1,000 Caesars reward points and 1,000 Caesars tier credits. This is big time value for all new accounts. All you got to do is download the app onto your phone and use the promo code MORNINGFUL, or check out the description of the video and click on the link.
It's interesting. You were talking about the line movement. We haven't seen much. Again, this is definitely not a marquee matchup, but yet there's a unique situation here that I'll touch on in just a second. But when it comes to the line, this one surprised me, and it actually kind of scares me off the side. And the reason I'm saying that is because it looks funny to me, this line, because think about it. You were talking about who's favored and where the game is. It's at Washington.
Yeah.
And they're saying with this line at -3 that basically if this game was played on a neutral field, Jacksonville's just as good as Washington. And I don't know, that's hard for me to justify. Now, what it makes me think though too is that maybe somebody knows something here. To me, it's kind of could be an ugly game. It's a tough one to call in my opinion in terms of the side. But I do think it could be an ugly, entertaining game. I think we're going to see a lot of points in this one. And the reason for that, I think we're going to see a bit of a chess match here, Allie. One of the reasons this, to me, is an interesting matchup is because the head coach of the Jaguars, of course, is Doug Peterson, who led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, their Super Bowl victory a few years ago. And that's when Carson Wentz was the quarterback for much of the regular season. And, he gets such a bad rap. And I know he holds on to the ball too long at times and has made some mistakes. But when you look at his numbers, Allie, the thing is, he had a tough, as normal for most rookies, he was about even TDs to INTs in his rookie season. Since then, he's only had 1 year that was also like that. 4 of the last 5 years, he has averaged 27 touchdowns and only thrown 7 interceptions in those 4 years. So 4 out of the last 5 years, pretty damn solid. And I think Carson Wentz is going to this will be a bit of a chess match because he knows how Doug Peterson thinks. Doug Peterson knows how Carson Wentz thinks. Washington's defense is not good. They lost Chase Young is going to be on the physically unable to perform list for the first. So he's already on it, which means I think he's going to miss at least the first 4 games of the season. I think he has to. And he's their stud defensive end, and they didn't have a good defense to begin with. So Jacksonville can score some points. You might be in good shape there with Trevor Lawrence as your QB, but I don't trust this Jacksonville defense. And I think, again, Carson Wentz gets a bit of a bad rap. I think he can do some damage with it. They did add some talented wide receivers that are ready to go, and I think that I really think they could do some damage here against this Jaguars defense.
I like this over also. What I'm showing is I've got 89% of the money on the under, and that 44 is kind of just sticking right there. This was my play on Purdue last night, that they're not afraid of that under money. So they're not moving the line too much, which makes me feel like it goes over. That's the way to play it now. If they're not afraid of the under, well, then I should be on the over kind of a situation.
I do like that as well, Allie. I like to look at things like that. And the one thing I would mention here too is that this is another case where, again, it's the value in terms of what we're seeing in these lines, like we talked about in the college game. And the thing is here, when people look at this matchup, they're thinking 2 bad teams. Like you said, this is not one that was high on your list of games to look at this week. So a lot of times then they do look toward unders because they think, well, the Jags aren't that good. They're not going to score much. Commanders aren't that good. They're not going to score much. Look at this total. It's mid-40s. I'll go under.
Right.
They're not seeing, Tom Brady. They're not seeing Russell Wilson in his prime. They're not seeing those kinds of situations where it's like, oh, this game's going to be a juggernaut with a ton of points. But yet this is the kind of game that very easily could end up in the 50s.
And I think, Trevor Lawrence is like, he's from a winning culture. He's a winning quarterback. He had a bad year last year. It didn't look great, but this is the first game of the season. He wants to come out and show, like, hey, guys, remember me? Sunshine, I'm back. Let's
Well,
do this. So,
and Allie, remember that Doug Peterson, of course, was an NFL quarterback. He did well with, think of the quarterbacks that the Eagles had, Nick Foles and Carson Wentz, when they won the Super Bowl and had some good years there. He knows how to handle the quarterbacks. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is going to have a better season this year under his tutelage. So
I don't
something
know
to
how he
think
could
about.
have a worse season. So,
Yes,
there's
for
that.
sure.
Yes. So, Scott, over at picksandparlays.net, that's where we keep all your premium plays. You are number one over the last 7 days, up $824. You're also number one on our hottest cappers list. People at home, if you want to find Scott's premium plays, his best bets, head to picksandparlays.net and then use the promo code NFL. It's going to save you 20% off. Scott Rickenbach, thank you so much for joining the Power Hour. I'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Allie. See you then.
Bye-bye.